Do you want to be a copywriter but feel unsure of the exact routes on where and how to do that? What are the options for how to be a copywriter? By the end of this video, you'll know the specific list of potential copywriter career choices and how to start your pursuit forward to achieving one of them. For the best, no fluff, powerful advice on writing, copywriting, pursuing your goals with radical boldness and self-expression, make sure to hit that button below to subscribe to my channel and click the bell to be notified when I post videos. I became a freelance writer in 2014, and throughout my journey have dove deep into many types of copywriting and copywriting positions as a writer. You know, I've tried a lot of methods and been in so many work environments, different types of companies, places, remote, non-remote, and I can conclusively say from my experience and the members of my programs that I have led since, there are multiple options to have a copywriting career that are really tailored to your personality, ideal work environment, and desired lifestyle. So here are 5 specific paths and more about how they work, who tends to be a great fit for which one, as well as my experience, the really and honest pros and cons about each of them. So whether you're a student, work full-time right now, or a parent, if you're someone who's coming back to the workforce, anything else in between, I just want to know, I hear you, I see you, and I can't wait to show you and walk you through what is possible for you. I'm going to talk about both more traditional employment as an employee working full-time for companies, and then dive into the options for those who are interested in what that means to be a copywriter, a writer, freelance, self-employed, or owning your own business. First career option to present to you is working as a copywriter for an agency. So an agency being a marketing firm or an ad company that focuses on the marketing and advertising for other brands. So this is an external company that does services for many other companies. Maybe this conjures up the image of the Mad Men and Don Draper. And I personally worked with, or part-time freelancing with, several different agencies. When I was starting out, agencies really let me try my hand at so many things, so many industries, and so many types of both copywriting and content writing. And a lot of the skills that came with that, from SEO to some basic design and many things in between. So you might be on web copy for a vegan brand one day and social media writing for an accounting firm the next. So this is going to depend, of course, on the agency itself, the type of clients they take on, how focused and niche they are, or maybe the size, if they tend to do local, maybe they work with bigger firms. But overall, a lot of the pros of an agency is getting to work on many types of projects. If one, you're not sure exactly what you want to do and focus on yet, if you want to dabble in a lot of different things. It's also great if you have the type of personality that loves to constantly be starting new things, experimenting, and learning all the time in a really wide variety. Perhaps you were the type of person in junior high or high school who loved jumping electives, who loved to always try several electives in many different things, versus someone who leaned a little bit more in one elective you went really deep into. Like maybe you went all the way grades, 1, 2, 3, 4, AP if you're here in the US, for a specific language. You like to sort of jump electives. Now, one thing about agencies is at the same time, this can mean a bit more of a frantic energy at times because the clients are external. So companies, all these different companies, let's say a beverage company and a local gym, are all turning to this agency to work on their ads, their content. So they might come in and give a lot of feedback or deadlines, maybe more back and forth. Hours can tend, I've personally found, to creep later or time off the clock, especially because there are more external companies that are coming with a lot of requests at once. All of this, none is good or bad or wrong or right. Every option that I'm sharing with you is sharing from my experience, what I've seen, and we get to decide and feel into what feels really good and right for our personality and also just our season of life. So an in-house copywriter is someone who's the writer for one company. So rather than an agency that is doing all types of writing and content for many other brands, this is being the writer under the umbrella of one company. So for example, I am the junior copywriter of C's Chocolates, or I am a copywriter at Hershey's. Apparently, I'm just really going into a chocolate theme right now. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean you don't have variety. You could work on a variety of products under REI or different types of campaigns under Trader Joe's. It can be about personality preference and, once again, a season of life. And it's not that one option is forever. There's definitely crossover between the classic agency experience and then also going in-house. It really depends. So here's some paths also where I've seen swaps and interlinking between these different opportunities. So maybe someone goes into the agency world and they work on so many types of projects, websites and sales pages, and then they're writing video scripts, and then they find that they really, really love all the clients that are in vegan fitness or vegan nutrition. And so because they're always so passionate about that, they end up finding their way into an in-house position with a company that matches that style, that industry, or those values. And then the same thing can happen where they pivot later or someone else goes in-house and they get really deep, knowledgeable, grounded, rooted, really enjoying it to go so deep on a single type of product, service. So for example, maybe something that is all gluten-free and they're really loving learning so much, so deep, narrow in this wide trench way of one specific industry. And then sometime in, they're kind of creating variety again. They want to spice things up. They want to dabble in more opportunities and more types of brands and then go into an agency later. So one connotation, and again, this is not a blanket rule. This doesn't go across all companies, whether agency or in-house, but there is a connotation that there can tend to be a little more structure with a company where you're an in-house copywriter, whether it's just the timing of the schedule or hours or how things are set up, because there's more internal. So there's a little bit more opportunity for things to have, I guess I would say, almost control versus the agency, because there's all these external clients that can come in and change things up and have, whoop, we're now switching this today because I just came up with a client. So it can be a bit more rooted. So another difference with an in-house opportunity is that you might be more likely to work with a more similar group of people in a deeper ongoing basis. So at an agency, yes, you'll have the people in your company, but you also have a lot of other companies and then their teams and their vendors and their designers and maybe all these other components that are bringing into it. And not that you still might not work with vendors or outside people at an in-house, but it is more likely to be a closer knit group. So it's also personal preference. Do you like to hop on the phone and Zoom calls with a lot of different people in maybe different places all over the world or in the country and getting to know them? Or does that feel a little bit stressful? So let it sink in. What feels good for you? Option number 3. So opportunity number 3 is being a freelance writer. So this is where you're not a W-2 employee employed under a specific company, like not having a yearly salary with full commitment to a company. So this is where you are a separate being out on your own and get to choose your projects. Now, legally and logistically, I'm not a lawyer or not an accountant, so I'm not going to go deep into the elements of tax or what those components mean. Here's what I will say. There's a lot more freedom. There's differences around setting hours, times, and deciding when you get to accept projects. So freedom, not just in the time, but on what type of clients that you want to accept, that you do want to work with. So a lot of pro is getting to have freedom in choosing our projects and choosing our rates and our time, also location, and I'm going to be remote. What I also want to call out, something that comes into the freelance writing, is there's a good amount of time often at the beginning where not all the time is about writing. Like at an in-house company's HR department handling the invoices, pay, 401k, there's all these other things that are being handled that don't have to be on your mind when you get to focus more on the work itself. As a freelancer, it is elements of, I know for myself, I had a lot from the beginning where I was figuring out what to charge, creating proposals, following up on invoices, all these pieces that came in that weren't just about me writing. So again, this isn't good or bad. It's a journey, a process, and part of where we want to be and what's feeling good in the moment. It might feel overwhelming at the beginning, especially figuring out what to charge, deciding how to find clients, but maybe you also feel in your bones that the freedom is worth it, that there's still a part of you that goes, I am here for figuring it out. I am here to try and experiment and get clients and have that freedom that comes with being a freelance copywriter. Also want to add a note, how possible it is. I had so many doubts, even for the first few years, that doubt I had on myself, especially when I wasn't turning to anyone else to ask for help or support or learning. And now I'm so glad I pursued this journey from the freelance copywriting, and I've shown many other people, copywriters, even people who hadn't had a single client yet, and we're still working full-time jobs or we're full-time parenting, how to get the first clients and really become a freelance copywriter. So one note I want to make on that, do check out this video. Check out this video on freelance copywriting, what is a freelance copywriter, and how to become one who's a fit. So after this video, make sure go watch this video because it goes into more powerful detail. As we dive into more options, especially if you do want to be more self-employed, freelance, or running your own copywriting business, or even team, which we get into, comment below and tell me, what is exciting you? What is exciting you about the copywriting career choices so far? Is it the chance to write, to do something you love and get paid? Is it to have freedom to write and maybe work from home or anywhere in the globe? Is it the feeling of adrenaline already starting to course through your body and your veins and getting to feel like the movie Devil Wears Prada? I'm going back and forth between projects and ideas. So comment below because your words, they're being seen, they're being celebrated. Tell me, what is the number one thing that's exciting you right now, so far in this video, about a copywriting career? So comment below, declare it, type it, and let this excitement pump up through your system and make this start to be a reality in your body, even if you don't fully believe it yet. Maybe you're in school, maybe you're a student, maybe you haven't been writing or in a creative field before. That's okay. Let's just start to let this feel that this can be real. So comment below what's exciting you, and then we'll move on. Another career opportunity as a copywriter is the micro agency. So point number 4, micro agency. So this is where you are termed sort of copy chief, where you are the overseer. You're overseeing the copywriting, the messaging, the strategy, and having some contractors or junior copywriters that are underneath you, really fleshing things out. So this might be a step or two forward from where you are right now, but it's a great thing to know and keep in mind. So as you're building your copywriting portfolio or skills or growing in your journey, you're knowing what else is possible and out there for you, even if it's something you're not doing right now, this second or next week, to know what it can be in store for you. So if you freelance write, if you want to start freelance writing, or maybe you already are a freelance writer and you want to see what else is possible, this point can come that you feel like you have too much work. Even that point feels far away right now. We have too much work. I remember reaching this point that I never thought would come, and I suddenly found myself piled with 10 to 14 clients at a time. I was like burnt out, so exhausted. I remember being at this co-working space, slumped over, 8 p.m. Almost everyone else had gone home, and I had 3 mugs in front of me. One had had 3 different lattes in it. One had had a cup of tea at some point, and then one had this last drain of water that I was forgetting to keep drinking out of. And there I was thinking the dream was to have so many leads and thinking I should just be grateful now that I finally had them. But I was starting to feel burnt out and I didn't even almost know what to do and what my options were. So one option here is to copy chief. Now I went a different route, which I'm going to show you in point number 5. But in copy chiefing, I know the copywriters who've done this and they really love this and this speaks to them. And so this is where they have relished and flourished under copy chiefing. So companies have come to them for writing, and what they do is really oversee the project. So let's say someone comes to them with a website project and they say, I have a 10-page website I need and a rebrand. We need to know how we write, how we come across. Can you help? So as a copy chief, you're mapping out the website. What are the pages? What are the main points? You're digging in with the client and you're still at base of your own brand. Then, as you have a junior copywriter or multiple writers who are helping really support. So you are guiding them, training them through, here's the client, here's what the project is. So our homepage, here are our main points. And we want to make sure in the brand guide, we are touching on this. This is what matters. And then these others beneath you, and I don't say that in like a negative connotation, but those who are more of the junior aspect of the project would be the ones fleshing out the writing, fleshing out the pages, doing things like proofreading and really securing all the details, and then the ones doing a lot of the more nuanced, detailed research. And then you have a more zoomed out approach in the overseeing of the process. This is great for people who tend to be the visionary, who tend to be full of ideas, who are great at ideating and getting the client and seeing the big picture and seeing, oh, this possibility, and here's what we want to draw out. These are people who love to get so excited about the dreams and the messaging and the heart, but the tiny details and a lot of times the implementation and the longer term execution slay their souls like a vampire. Hashtag Buffy the Vampire Slayer if there's any other fans here. A caveat into this, and again, not negative, but this is something to keep in mind. Being a copy chief is bringing in other writers. It's bringing in other people. So more training, more coordination, guidance with them, back and forth between the writers and also the clients. You maybe as also the middleman, or if the client has feedback, having to convey back and forth, and then the emotions and time that can come with that, may feeling a little bit of a loss of control at times. Now you're still overseeing the copy chief, but handing off writing to others can feel a bit, especially at first, of a like an emotional state if you've been used to being the writer from it. So this is great, right? Visionary, someone who likes to be overseeing. It can be a little bit more detached from the writing itself. So if you're someone who loves to be deep in the research and creating all the words and really deep in longer term projects, these are things to keep in mind. Number 5 is a copywriter expert or a copywriter consultant. So this is a big part of the direction I've taken and career opportunity as a copywriter. So I reached a point where I was a freelance writer and I was doing a long form written projects. Then I reached a point then, rather than take on one-on-one projects like full-on websites, writing all the brand guides, writing every single email in a funnel, instead I was hired just by the day or to consult on high-touch pieces, just to revamp, to zone in on the main high-touch pieces like a sales page, the core pages of a website, promotional emails that really they want to maximize the bang for their buck, the messaging and these pieces, versus going into the details, right? So I'm not the freelance writer that they would email on a Friday at 2 p.m. needing to readjust things or proofread a piece one more time, but more as the consultant. What I have really enjoyed about this is getting to focus on the main core pieces and work with still a lot of different people and get to work with more companies and still have a good amount of time and not be burning out. So SansCon it does require more of a funnel of marketing to have more clients coming in, because it is often securing more projects and working with more people versus a freelance writer who could secure, say, a couple different retainers or a couple one-time projects and have more of that work flowing in. And of course, there's many opportunities to go from there, whether it's speaking, teaching, going forward in that way, more of mentorship, coach. These are one of the 5 of the really most specific ways in being a copywriter. So these are very real options I've been a part of myself. I'm living proof that you can try different options. You can stay in one place, you can switch it up based on your season, on your preference. So now that you know these 5 options, I really want to address something important. What about if you want to do the last 3 options? What if you're really considering, if you're really titillated by the latter 3 as a freelancer, copy chief, consultant, where you are hungering for this idea of freedom, where you're running the business, where you're getting to choose your clients decisively, unapologetically getting to pursue what feels amazing for you as a writer. But you have questions. How do you start? How do you get these clients? How do you ABC? So I'm excited. I packaged up my 5 best, most specific ways I went off on my own with no connections, from 20 cents a word to being paid thousands of dollars a day. In my masterclass, it's totally free, 5 steps, including how I landed projects that were $13,000 and clients in 3 minutes with a shockingly easy method. So sign up for this totally free, honestly game-changing masterclass, link in the description. Let's keep this party going. So check out the videos next on how to unapologetically pursue a copywriter career on your terms. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe. Share with a friend who you even know might want to go on this career path. I can't wait for you to see what's possible.